So there is a lot to unwrap. There's a lot from the onion to peel back from this. You're someone that historically people might have known as a different, I don't know, avatar in the digital world, a different persona, someone who might have been known as someone who did something completely different, whether it was the baker's wife, the software guy, just the guy who used to have hair that now shaved it, the chokey, whatever it might be.
I appreciate you pointing out the hair, by the way. Thank you.
It's something that I think a lot of people should think about extensively. And as you are someone who coaches people on when is the time to do it. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I do. I will pull people aside and be like, hey, man, it's time. You need to shave.
That's ridiculous. So as someone who has had in the past a lot of personas, how do you decide when it's time to stick to this one, which right now is Array Digital and digital marketing? And how do you start to let the world know, hey, we're open for business. This is what we do. And I want you to be a part of it. Like, how do you guys unwrap that for me?
Yeah. So I in retrospect, I realized that I had a lot of different business personas. So, what Zach was referring to was the fact that my wife and I used to own a bakery. And so there were people that would come into the bakery, and I had a full-time job, which was another persona. So lots of personas, what I realized I had when I went into business for myself. So I would go in nights and weekends and I would help with the bakery. So I'd work the retail counter. People would come in, and some of these people were like influential business people, and they would know me as Erik, the bakery guy. But I had a day job on base. And so those people in that circle of the sphere of influence, if you will, they knew me as Erik, the Navy contractor IT guy. There were other personas. I had done some freelancing. So I had a couple of different businesses that I had formed and done work under. They knew me as either, Sharp Code or whatever the business was called at the time, or the project that I worked on. When I went into business for myself, I realized hey, I'm going all in on this thing, and I need everybody that I know, regardless of how I know them, to now start thinking about Erik Olson, which later became Erik J. Olson, totally different story. But I need them to think about Erik Olson as the guy who's running his own business now. At the time, it was called Fresh Information Management Systems, and we did custom software development. I wanted to reframe everybody's perception of this guy as the guy with that business. Because what I wanted was to take all of that network that I'd created, and I wanted to funnel it and focus it in on the business, because I needed business right off the bat. So what I had to do was basically break down those old personas. And what it meant was having to walk away from a lot of things that I had done in the past. I didn't want people to know me as Erik, the bakery guy, Erik, the contractor, Erik, etc. So I had to go tell them directly what I was doing. The best way that I could do that was, I sent out emails, of course, right? And I also called people, but it's difficult to call everybody. So what I realized I needed to do is I needed to make a statement. And I got the idea of, with wedding invitations, they're very formalized, they're pre-printed, they go to people. When you get one, something significant, is in this envelope and this letter.
A piece of direct mail.
And I'm a digital guy. I've always been in software or digital, but when you get a piece of mail, and you know how it is. You get a letter, especially a handwritten letter, and it gets your attention. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted was to send a mailing to everybody that had a letter that said, hey, I have started a business. We do A, B, C, and D. And if you know someone who needs this kind of help or this kind of service, let me know, because this is what I'm doing now. I'm totally committed. And so I had to go 100% in on this new persona, which was scary as shit, because, I think most people that start a business, they kind of do it on the side. They don't really tell anybody, or they kind of tell just a few people. It's on the down low. And I think that's a mistake. I think you need to just broadcast it everywhere, tell every single person that you know. And that's exactly what I did.
I think what's interesting too is a lot of people think direct mail doesn't work. I 100% disagree with that statement. I think if your direct mail looks like everyone else's thing, then yes, it the purpose of that could be lost, right? If you send something that looks like a bill and that person doesn't open it, like, you have to think about the environment that that person is in, and you were sending something that was very unique. And I appreciate that. And I think oftentimes, and you at that time, I believe, weren't even in digital marketing yet, but were using it. And you, that was a different persona. That was a different Erik Olson at that point. And so what's interesting is how you were doing things that helped you now that you didn't even realize were going to be that thing that would help you. And so when you started sending that stuff out, you got at least one customer out of that. And you sent it to what, like 200 people or something? What, break down?
Well, I got several leads, and one of the projects actually, it may be the only project that came out of that. It was actually through Tim. So Tim was one of the people that got that letter. And, I don't know if it was a result of just me telling Tim or Tim receiving the letter or receiving the email, but basically that letter went out, Tim got it. And within really a couple of days, Tim called me up and he's like, "Hey, I've got a client who's doing this thing, this app, and they could use some help. And are you interested?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So thank you, Tim.
Yeah. And that was what, how long ago was that? 3-4 years ago now?
Dude, that was like 7 years ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the thing is 7 years and you're still beating the drum, same drum, to try to tell everybody, who Erik J. Olson is. And
it's one of those things. You if you're not putting your name out there, then who is? I mean, like, certainly, of course, you want your best clients to talk about you, but and that's great. Like, that's the best kind of referral traffic, is when someone else tells one of their friends or colleagues about you, and then you get that inbound traffic. But it's hard to predict. It's hard to do anything about. And if you only rely on that, you're just kicking back and waiting and hoping, right?
Right.
So that's kind of a defensive play. So I like to go offense, and do both, right? So wait for those referrals to come in. You got to do good work to get the referrals, but on while you're waiting, go on offense and tell the world about what you're up to.